Kristen, I think we heard on the broadcast a little bit that you were talking about her impacting the game in multiple ways, not just with her scoring, which has been a focus throughout her whole career, but what, I don't know if you saw something click since Sunday in practice or just really in the game today, but what did you like from what you saw in her just outside of scoring that she got involved?
Well, Kristen got a steal Sunday in the Creighton game. Kind of came out of nowhere, stole it, went in for a layup. So this past week, I made a couple comments to her. Like I said, you have 7 for the season. That's in 10 games. And you just got your 7th yesterday. I said, what if you got 2 of those every game? I said, that's easy, right? Those are 3 or 4, 5, 6 easy points, right? And what if you got 2 offensive rebounds? What if you did these kinds of things like on a regular basis? Like what would that do for your game? If you got more involved rather than just, I wait to get the ball and then I try to score. And if I don't score points, I really don't have an impact on the game. So, so it's been something that we've talked about since Sunday. And I thought today she had a huge impact on the game in a lot of ways that she hasn't had this entire season.
Since
Carl? Go ahead, Alexa. Sorry.
Quick follow-up. Since she's known to kind of go through these ruts, what's the most important thing that has helped her, instead of just having a one-off good game, what allows her, from what you've seen, to kind of carry that on consistently? That way she can kind of come out with this effort each night moving forward.
Well, I mean, it still took her 18 shots to score 19 points, right? All right. So that's still not the kind of efficiency that she's going to want going forward. All right. So, you take 18 shots, you ought to be able to score 28 points. You need to make more shots. Now, how do you do that? Well, if you're just waiting and obsessing about shooting the ball and you go through a stretch where the ball is not going in, you start obsessing about it even more and it goes in even less. So if you're doing all these other things, it takes your mind off of, I'm shooting it bad. Why? I missed the last 3 threes. Why? You don't have time to think about those things because you're too busy doing all these other things that are impacting the game. So I think one way to get that consistency of, where you can play well every night is by focusing on all these other things. And then the points come as an added bonus to those things.
Carl?
Geno, 2-part question, if you don't mind. First, what went into the thought process of changing the starting lineup and going with Nika? And the second part is, a lot of times in games like this, the better team will win on talent alone, but it really seemed, your energy, effort, and, the things you wanted to do, you got done. Do you feel the same way with that you won because, the things you got done more than talent?
Yeah, the Nika situation was probably twofold. If she's going to be limited to some minutes for some time, why sit on the bench and then give her spotty minutes? So why not start her and let's see what we got that day. And she's going to bring tremendous energy, defensive intensity. She's going to push the ball up the floor harder. So there's, all the things that she did last year for us. And you noticed it right away today. The other way was we weren't really getting any offense off the bench. So I think Evina can be somebody that brings offense off the bench and can jumpstart some things if it's not going well. So I think we saw 2 things that I wanted to fixed two things that I wanted to get better at by doing by changing the lineup. And as far as the wing goes, yeah, we have a lot more talent than Butler. I think, you know, Kirk would be the first one to tell you that. And there are some games you win just because you're more talented. And there were minutes today where we played like we were just more talented. But there was 39 minutes or 38 minutes or 37 minutes, whatever you want to call it, where we played like the game was played the way we wanted to play, regardless of who the opponent was. That's the way we used to play basketball here at Connecticut. And that hasn't happened in a while. So you could still have more talent, but if players don't play with the kind of energy and the kind of focus and the kind of intensity level, you know, if they play that like that every single day, then you have a chance to use your talent. And today we did, you know, and that hasn't been the case every night, you know, and we played like we trusted each other. We played like we believe, you know, in each other a little bit more. So yeah, all around it was the right kind of game to play, you know, even though, you know, Butler's down to 7 players or 8 players and they're struggling this season. And, you know, I don't think anybody denies that, but I think the way we played today was more credit to us than it was that, you know, what Butler could or couldn't do.
Bob?
Hey, Geno, you got a lot of contributions. You mentioned Kristen, but you got great contributions from your seniors, not only Olivia producing, but it was good to see Avina get going on the scoreboard tonight.
Yeah, the defense that we encountered today, you know, it gave people an opportunity to find open shots if we moved the ball quickly enough. And one of the reasons for that was we were able to push the ball up the floor quickly and not walk it up and get into a half-court slog like we have been for the last 4, 5, 6 games. So by pushing the tempo and playing quicker and looking to get the ball up in the air quicker, I think Kristen, Liv, E, you know, they benefit from something like that because, you know, there's less worrying about where, you know, where do I go next with the ball? What play do I have to make next? So we took a lot of the thinking out of it today, and it helped, you know, it helped everybody, not just the seniors. But it was great to see the 3 of them play great.
Dan?
Geno, even though Nika's been limited to minute restrictions since she's come back, have you been able to see a difference in the way that your team plays when she's out on the floor compared to when she's on the bench?
Yeah, it's a 180 difference when she's on the floor. And, you know, I knew that last year. If people remember correctly, when we inserted her into the starting lineup last year, that's when the team changed. And there's a reason for that, because what she brings is unique, and she's the one player on our team that has it. And I'm determined to take more advantage of it as the season goes on.
Jackie?
Hey, Geno. Thanks for being here. I just wanted to build off this idea of the half-court slog that y'all have been battling through. And what do you think has been the key to reestablishing this identity in transition? And what made it easier to do tonight versus when y'all played Creighton on Sunday?
You know, Creighton controls the tempo of the game a lot with their offense. So they take a long time deciding when they're going to shoot the ball. So sometimes they force you to be patient. So defensively, you have to up the tempo. And it starts the way you pick up, the way you pressure the ball, the way you get in the passing lanes. And so we spent some time in practice figuring we've got more bodies now, so let's throw them out there. Let's use them. We weren't able to do that for a little bit till we got everybody back. So the defense, the pressure that we put on the other team, if we can continue to do that, then we can continue to play quicker like we played today.
Right. And I'm curious as to what type of adjustments you thought you saw from Evina, from Sunday versus today. I mean, she had 6 turnovers and maybe looked a bit stagnant when it came to just how she played and a bit hesitant against Creighton.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that happen with my players that I have no explanation for. So I wish I could tell you, well, here's what was different from Sunday to today. I don't know. I just know that, when you played a lot of basketball, when you're a senior, I think the expectation that you have for yourself and that your teammates have is that you consistently play at a certain level. And after the Creighton game, I made a point to say to our 3 seniors, there's no easy way to say this. We need more from you guys. You need to perform better. That's it. Whatever that means to you, you need to play better. And that shouldn't be taken as pressure or, a challenge, or that's just a statement of fact. Hey, coach said we need to do more. And so I think hopefully they took it to heart, the 3 of them, and hopefully this is the beginning of a beautiful thing.
Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte.
Hi, Geno. I just wanted to follow up on something you said earlier about you seeing the players kind of trust each other a little bit more on the floor. And just, is that something you've seen in practice this week and maybe in practice the week before? Or where have you really noticed that?
Yeah, everything starts in practice, and everything comes from a certain intensity level and a certain energy level. And I'll be the first to say that, there's been a lot of games that we played where there isn't, and maybe, maybe that's just the world today, after these couple of years of what we've been through. But I told the team before the game today, there's this like general malaise. It's like every game you watch or everything you see people, you think everybody's been affected and everybody just kind of plays numb. So there's no joy, there's no fun. And maybe just that's what life is today. I said, but I don't want to be one of those teams. I don't want us to be one of those teams. I don't want us to act like one of those teams. I want to be different. I want to, and I think they went out there today and they tried to be different. They tried to be, what I think a good basketball team's supposed to look like, where you play with that kind of energy, where you play with that kind of, passion for the game, which I think has been missing for a couple of years, and I'm not saying there aren't reasons for it. I just, I just don't want to be one of those teams. And I know they don't want to be one of those teams.
Maggie.
Yeah, the past 2 games, Aaliyah has looked a lot stronger both Sunday and today than she has before the holiday break. What do you just kind of attribute to that? Was that something you talked with her as well as about kind of stepping up, or was that you've seen her do that herself?
Nah, I asked Aaliyah the other day. I said, hey, all the things that make you a really good player, that made you the player that you were last year. I said, you came back this year and you did none of those things. And that's why you've struggled. So what's the best way to get back to playing really good basketball? Go back to doing those things that you did last year that made you the player that you were. By the NCAA tournament, she was on the all tournament team, I think. And this year, seen very, very, very little of that. And the last couple of games, you know, it's more like what I'm sure she wants to see, and it's definitely more like what I want to see. And now we just got to keep building on that. You know, sometimes, you know, sophomore years is not easy, but we obviously, you know, benefit. You know, you see how hard she goes to the boards, or how hard she runs the floor, or how she can help us defensively, and you just, you know, we miss it. You know, we got so used to it last year, and then when we didn't have it this year, we miss it. And I told her, I said, you need to be playing a lot more minutes, but I'm going to give you those minutes, but you're going to have to get back to your old self.